All right, peace fam. Today, during the Daily Toast, actually during this week, we're going to be dealing with this problem of the toxins in our environment, like fluoride and other stuff. So we're going to be talking about a myriad of things in this week. So we're going to start talking about fermentation and the tools that you need. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about the toothpaste and the tools that you need, and we're going to make our own toothpaste. I'm even going to get into showing you how to pickle or ferment other substances so that you can help your microbiome, right? So make sure that you tune in. Peace. Family, if you look to my right, you'll see cabbage, and we are going to be filming a lot today because you already know that I'm gonna fast. I don't even know how I'm gonna be feeling in the next couple of days, so I have to do some stuff in advance, and I gotta get the kitchen cleaned out, so I need to do all this today. So this week we're gonna be talking about how to feed our microbiome a little bit deeper. We're going deeper with it, right? I'm going to teach you how to do some of your own fermented food, right? So I'm going to make a dish. Tomorrow we're going to focus on cabbage, yams, potatoes, onions. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to break down the foods. We're going to break down what happens to them when they're fermented. So we're gonna look at the health benefits of the cabbage tomorrow. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be cutting up this old cabbage. Y'all get some footage of me because it's an old cabbage. So I want to show you how to use some of the old food in your kitchen and bring it back to life. We're gonna be talking about the true transformative power of fermenting foods and the importance of eating fermented foods. So what we're gonna talk about today specifically is fermented foods. Right now, also during the week, we're gonna be talking about making your own toothpaste. Right, I'm gonna show you how to make it because I'm almost out of mine. We're gonna make our own toothpaste. We're gonna talk about beets because we're gonna ferment some beets as well. We're gonna talk about the cabbage. We're gonna ferment cabbage as well. We also gonna be talking about dealing with some impotence issues. All right, how by just by engulfing yourself in this Nguza Saba challenge, right? You're gonna take care of a lot of those issues, but how do you keep it working as a man? You know what I'm saying? And even in some cases, as a female, we're gonna talk about the pelvic floor, how to use that, and we're gonna talk about sex. But also we're going to look at the positive benefits of sex. But then we also going to look at some of the, what I believe is some of the erroneous information out there about sex. Especially that we was taught as young men. Because many, as far as in my boat, many of the young men that I were around, we didn't have adults talking to us about sex. We learned about sex from other young people, right? So we don't understand the importance of sexual energy. So we're going to be talking about sexual energy, how to harness it, because that's a powerful part of your Ashe. Because a large portion of your Ashe energy that you're breathing in, the food that you eat, the water that you drink, a large proportion of that is going towards the sexual drive, right? So we want to, I'm trying to cover it. I'm trying to get it all in while I'm still on this fast. I don't know how the week is gonna go. We're gonna push through, right? We're gonna push through and do the best that we can, right? Now, so I'm talking about fermented foods because when I come off my fast, the thing that I'm gonna crack open first is the fermented food, and I want to be able to share that with you. Do you understand? I want to be able to share that with you, right? So I'm gonna pickle. I'm gonna ferment some cabbage. I'm gonna make like the cabbage and potatoes, right? Two types of potatoes with onions, right? And then I'm also gonna ferment some beets, right? As well as have some beet greens in there with them too. You know, greens don't do that well over a long period of time. So I'm gonna put some of those beet greens to the side and keep them so that I can steam them and have them with some wild rice, brown rice, or some quinoa. You know what I'm saying? Because, we're going to talk about them beet greens. We going to have to get into those if we talk about the beet, because a lot of us are missing a lot of the nutrients, right? One of the things I used to put in my beet drink, it wasn't that popular, so I really didn't make it. And then it's pretty labor intensive, because them beets is hard to grind up, right? But one of the major ingredients was that I will put the beet greens in there as well, right? We missing out on them beet greens. Family, you need to take those beet greens and you need to start mixing them in with those collards. You need to mix them in with that cabbage. You need to, as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to put some beet greens in with the cabbage. Thank you. All right, so let's talk about the fermenting, right? So, of course, we're going to our sites. Now, I need y'all to understand, I'm researching, I'm learning just like y'all. The only difference between me and a lot of y'all is that I get up and I do this shit. I read about it, I say, wow, okay, let me experiment with this, right? I start finding out about the microbiome. It's like a garden, shit. I'm trying to find the right fertilizer to get my microbiome charged up so that I could do the shit that I want to do, right? Like I said, it's a myth that we have to get old and become decrepit and become a weight on our family. That is a myth. That is a myth. We could go out of here in style, family. Listen to me. We go out of here in style, and we be able to share our wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Because the worst part about it is losing your mind as you get old, because you're dealing with the pain. You're dealing with the aches. You know what I'm saying? You start to lose your mind. Then on top of that, you start forgetting. Right? What if you can extend your life and live a healthy extra 50 years, extra 20, extra 10, and able to give the wisdom to your children that you didn't have? Give the guidance with the foresight where you are able to step back as an elder, because this is what elders are supposed to do. We're supposed to be back. When you become an elder, you're supposed to be able to step back and look at the world and say, damn, I recognize this pattern. Come here, baby, let me tell you. Boom, 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 boom. Right? That's what it's about. Right? This is really, this is where we missing out on. Right? Because our elders had it hard, family. Now, and a lot of us came up hard. So how do we move the next generation into wealth? We move them into wealth by giving them access to wisdom that other people don't have. Not just information. See, they say information is power, right? Actually, it gives you access to power. And that's true. But what is wisdom? Wisdom is the key to thriving. Wisdom is being able to recognize those patterns in the overall system and be able to pick them out and be able to take advantage of them. Right? Y'all know the housing crisis, the same shit, how that shit is coming back. I can't wait. I can't wait because we're going to be able to tell our kids when to get in and when to get out. How to take advantage of it, how not. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait for some of the crashes to come because it's nothing but cycles, right? If you look and you listen to a lot of the professionals on TV talking about the stock market and all this shit is based on cycles, systematic processes. Isn't that what I said we need to tune into? So let's get to this fermentation, right? Right now, I'm on Wellness Mama, and there's the health benefits of fermented foods. So she talks about her experience and how at first she was like, I'm not eating no fermented foods, family. Like a lot of you out there is like, some of y'all can't even think about the last time you had fermented food. And the reason I'm gonna show you how to do fermented food, because a lot of the so-called fermented foods that you get in these grocery stores are not fermented. They're not fermented. What do you mean? All right, they have been, but what has happened, they have become pasteurized. They're pasteurized, which means they kill all of the bacteria and stuff that you need, family. I need y'all to understand. You don't just eat fermented food for the taste. You eat it because it introduces healthy probiotics into your system. Even a lot of the yogurt that we're eating is super sugar laden. It's basically ice cream. It's the same as ice cream. You know what I'm saying? You need to go to some of these health food stores and get live cultures, right? Get real yogurt. Because once you start throwing all that sugar and shit in there, it becomes you might as well use it as dessert. Really. Use as dessert, isn't you know what I'm saying? Because one, you introducing sugar back into your system, and we know what sugar does. Most of the diseases feed on sugar because it's the simplest one to break down, right? But when you start getting into your culturally based diet, right, and start eating in a culturally based way, your body has developed a certain arrangement with nature. When you eat in a certain way, you are able to live in a certain way. When you break the agreement, you start falling off. All right, so now, first, she answered the question, what are fermented foods? Fermented foods are foods that have been through a process of lacto fermentation, in which natural bacteria feed on the sugar and starch in the food, not added sugar, in the food, creating lactic acid. This process preserves the food and creates beneficial enzymes, B vitamins, omega-3 fatty acids, and various strains of probiotics. Natural fermentation of food has also been shown to preserve nutrients in food and break the food down to a more digestible form. So now you understand why I'm going to break my fast for the first couple of days eating some fermented foods. Of course, y'all know I'm be quiet. Break down the food to a more digestible form. This, along with a bevy of probiotics created during the fermentation process, could explain the link between consumption of fermented foods and improved digestion. Cultures around the world have been eating fermented food for years, from sauerkraut in Germany to kimchi in Korea and everywhere in between. Study has even shown the link between probiotic-rich foods and overall health. Sadly, with the advance in technology and food preparations, these time-honored traditional foods have been largely lost in our society. Where have all the fermented food gone? Great question. The amount of probiotics and enzymes available in the average diet has declined sharply over the last few decades. As pasteurized milk has replaced raw, pasteurized yogurt has replaced homemade, vinegar-based pickles and sauerkraut have replaced traditional lacto-fermented versions. The list goes on. They don't want you. Why? Because if you are healthy, you don't pay into the system in the way that you need to. Family, don't you realize that a major portion of your wealth being destroyed comes with you trying to maintain your health? Huh? Come on now. I want y'all to think about that. This business. It ain't personal. Don't take it personal. See, a lot of us, we get caught up in the conspiracy theories and we think it's personal. It's not personal, it's business. So we need to go handle business, right? Even the much dreaded grains were safer to eat in earlier times since their preparation included soaking, sprouting, and fermenting, which largely reduce the anti-nutrient content and makes them less harmful. Right? Less harmful, right? Instead of the nutrient-rich foods full of enzymes and probiotics that our grandparents probably ate, the average diet today consists mainly of sugar-laden, lab-created dead foods. Now, one of the things that made this possible is the refrigerator, right? We don't need to pickle food. We don't need to preserve it because all we got to do is put it in the refrigerator. And we think that we're benefiting ourselves, right? But by us removing this stuff from our diet, we are actually exposing ourselves to the dangers of the toxins in the world, right? Fermented foods, first off, give your body a break. Like, I'm going to do it when I come off my fast because a lot of the food is pre-digested, right? My body don't have to work as hard. And because I haven't been eating for over, right now it's 14 days. If I go all the way through the fast, it'll be 21 days. I want my digestive system to take it easy. But also, along with the probiotics that come with this, I also want those lacto-based probiotics that are produced by the foods in them. And I also want a quick and easier access to the nutrients that are available in them. Why eat fermented foods? Besides the facts that they taste great and really grow on you, there are several great reasons to start making and eating fermented foods. Probiotics. 1. Eating fermented foods and drinking fermented drinks like kefir or that ambrosia, labeled as a kombucha, will introduce beneficial bacteria into your digestive system and help the balance of the bacteria in your digestive system. Probiotics have also been shown to help slow or reverse some diseases, improve bowel movements, aid digestion, and improve immunity. And let's don't forget about helping you in the bedroom. Alright? Absorb food better. Having a proper balance of gut bacteria and enough digestive enzymes help you absorb more of the nutrients in the food you eat. See, a lot of us think that all the digestion goes on in the stomach, right? But it's system-wide, right? Now, the stomach breaks it down, but then you also got bacteria and yeast that assist the stomach with this. And then you have bacteria and yeast that assist with the distribution. And then you also have bacteria and yeast that are involved in defending your body, right? Then you have bacteria and yeast that also help cleanse your mind. And some of them are controlling your mind. But that's all. We already talked about that, right? Having a proper balance of gut bacteria and enough digestive enzymes help you absorb more of the nutrients of the food you eat. Pair this with your healthy, real food diet, and you absorb many more nutrients from the food you eat. You won't need as many supplements and vitamins, and you'll be absorbing more of the live nutrients in your food. Budget friendly. Incorporating healthy foods into your diet can get expensive, but not so with fermented foods. You can make your own way at home for a couple of dollars, and using the sea salt, fermented foods are you can ferment many foods very inexpensively. Drinks like water, kefir, and kombucha can be made at home also and cost only pennies per serving. Adding these things to your diet can also cut down on the number of supplements you need, helping the budget further. Preserve food more easily. Homemade salsa only lasts a few days in the fridge. Fermented homemade salsas last months. The same goes for sauerkraut, pickles, beets, and other garden foods. Lacto-fermentations allow you to store these foods for longer periods of time without losing the nutrients like you would in traditional canning. bring on the bacteria, how to incorporate a fermented food. So we're gonna move to that article. Let's go to another article. Let's see. This is from a site called basicgrowth.com. Ooh, that's for a later date. We're gonna keep that one. All right, cool. So, oh, here we go. Green Info Healing. I was on another day. Amazing healing properties of fermented food. Now, this is a great site, Green Med Info. I would suggest getting the newsletter because they really break down some stuff and they have a lot of research to back up some of the stuff. So, between the hard and fast dichotomies of cooked and raw, dead and alive, is this beautiful thing called fermented. A place where many of the digestive challenges associated with raw foods, enzymes, inhibitors, anti-nutrients, and lectins, all become in favor of not just preserving their benefits, enzymes, activity, vitamins, content, life energy, but amplifying them. Also, overcome are the adverse consequences of cooking, enzyme destruction, vitamin activity degradation, oxidized fats, denatured proteins, etc., while still benefiting from the enhanced digestibility and assimilation that certain cooking applications offer. Fermented foods, in many ways, the complementary union of food, of cooked and raw, as well as their transcendence, an image not unlike the Tai Chi or the Tao symbol, the Yin Yang symbol, y'all. In fact, fermentation has almost heretical powers in the realm of both medicine and nutrition, being quite capable of literally raising the dead, which I'm going to do with this cabbage, as well as revitalizing and infusing with living and breathing energy a food ingredient that has been cooked into oblivion, or a human whose body has been poisoned close to the point of death without antibiotics or similar biological drugs or chemicals. There's no lack of scientific confirmation for the indisputed value of fermented foods for the promotion of health and well-being. In fact, one could consider fermented foods like kimchi, natto, apple cider vinegar, and even in moderation, wine, coffee, chocolate, and beer. All those are fermented. Medical foods of a sort. At Green Med Info, we have been indexing these functional applications in disease prevention and treatment straight from the research housed on the National Library of Medicine, and have found over 140 diseases that may be prevented or ameliorated by their use. See fermented food health benefits. Now, when you click this link on this site, they take you to another part of their site where they categorize. Like, for example, when you're looking up fermented foods, they categorize studies that have been done on fermented food. They got over 140 studies, but they're locked and you have to become a member. So once our membership grows here, I will become a member and I'll be able to share this information with y'all because we'll be able to go a little bit more in depth, right? Because I can find the studies, but it's all compiled right here on this site. All right. I'm gonna click on it real quick so I can show you what I'm talking about. 241 abstracts with fermented foods and beverage research. Free sample of member-only features. Probiotic supplementation use is effective in lowering the lipid levels and coexisting factors associated with cardiovascular disease. High intake of fermented milk may reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease. Higher levels of yogurt consumption was associated with lower incidence risk of cardiovascular disease in a dose response analysis. A D3 supplemented yogurt drink improves insulin resistant and lipid profiles in women with gestational diabetes mellitus. A fermented milk containing whey proteins concentrate has a positive effect on serum lipids and blood pressure in rats and healthy men. A fermented whey product has therapeutic value in the treatment of metabolic syndrome. A high consumption of yogurt may be associated with a lower prevalence of dental caries in young children. A lactoprobiotic product reduced up to 79.82% the reduction of aberrant foci by 1 to dimethylhydrazine, a symbiotic yogurt containing bifidobacterium animalis, and FOS has a favorable effect on the bowel habits of women with functional constipation. A yeast-based fermentation byproduct reduced colds and flu incidence in non-vaccinated individuals. A yeast-based fermentation byproduct reduced colds and flu symptoms, duration, and severity. A yogurt diet may be an ideal therapeutic intervention for persistent diarrhea, acute non-inflammatory gastritis. Improvement is accelerated by probiotic yogurt consumption. Among patients with established heart disease, moderate consumption of wine seems to be associated with lower incidence of cardiovascular events and total mortality as a compound with non-drinkers. Wine is a fermented food, family. It's a fermented drink. Beer drinking contributes to higher bone density as a result of the phytoestrogen content, hops, of this alcoholic beverage. Beer, vodka, and especially red wine prevents oxygen-induced oxidative stress associated with arterial stiffness. Citrus juice fermented with Lactobacillus plantarum YIT 0132 alleviates symptoms of perineum allergic rhinitis. Consumption of 300 grams day probiotic and conventional yogurt can play a role in improving symptoms of constipation. And it goes on and on. You got all these studies that you could pull up. If you got any questions, fermented papaya, fermented wheat germ, frequent miso soup, and isoflavone consumption associated with a reduced risk of breast cancer. Great yogurt consumption, habitual consumption of fermented foods. You got over 241 studies that you could pick from Green Med Info, right? So my fault. Let me go back. I just wanted to share that with you because this is an excellent article. There are a broad range of fermented foods we could look at to illustrate their power to heal. After all, every single culture on the planet used, not a semantic coincidence, culturing to sustain themselves. Now, remember, we call ourselves culture when we come together and we work together. When these bacteria and yeast come together, they form as above, so below. So what we do, the micro world do, and what the stars and the things above us are doing, we're doing. We organize cultures, right? So this is why I say culture rather than they say SCOBY, symbiotic culture or colony. I call it a culture. There are broad range of fermented foods we could look at to illustrate the power to heal. After all, every single culture on the planet used, not a semantic coincidence, culturing to sustain themselves. Every single one. But for the short article, we will focus on Asian traditional preparation since there is already such a huge body of clinical research demonstrating their amazing health effects. Now, for those of us of African descent, one of the ways we used to ferment food is like dry fish. We also use the salt because salt was a major trading piece all over. As a matter of fact, you hear that salt in certain parts of Africa, an ounce of salt was equal to the ounce of gold. Why? Because with salt, you could preserve the food. And by preserving the food, you preserved your life, right? So you got kimchi, miso, natto, and they go into a lot of that stuff. But you can read the article yourself. But I won't belabor the point. Now, so tomorrow what we're going to be talking about, we're going to be looking at the healing properties and the benefits of cabbage. Then also, I'm going to show you how to prepare a cabbage fermented stew, right? It takes 7 days for it to get prepared, about 7 days. You know what I'm saying? And we will check it on a daily basis as we do this because I don't want because the jars will blow up. It's just like making that ambrosia. So I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I want to thank y'all for your patience. I want to thank y'all for your love. I want to thank y'all for your support. Family, we are moving and it is growing and it's becoming empowered. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Hope my energy is this high then. Peace. Thank you for watching the video. I want you to subscribe. Click the bird right there, the fiery bird. And I also have a special video just for you, right there. And for those that want more information about Gye-Nyame Journey, go to our site. It should be right about there.